Hi friends, this is Angelica. Welcome back to my channel. There's a new collection coming to the Greetery shop this Friday, March 10th, and I'm going to show you how I put together these two cards and walk you through a few new products that I used. We're going to start with Robin's Egg paper ribbon and two new ribbon maker dies, the daisy chain die and Easter egg die. Since the ribbon is 3 inches wide, I'm going to use both dies at once. If you're not familiar with the ribbon maker dies, these are essentially like infinity dies. You can just keep die cutting the strip of whatever die that you're using. There's several different ribbon makers now in the Greetery shop, and depending on how long your paper is, you can just keep die cutting. So these ribbon rolls, the paper rolls, are 30 feet long, so you can get a lot of paper ribbon made from one roll. I ran these dies through my die cut machine 3 times just to show you a little bit of length and what the ribbon would look like, or what it looks like when you use the dies. The daisy die does have a few areas that you're going to want to poke out before you use it, either on a package or a card. These are also really great dies to use if you're a scrapbooker on your 12 by 12 layouts. For my card, I die cut 5 strips of white Easter eggs and I glued them to a card panel. I did let the card panel sit under my MISTI for a few minutes just to let the glue dry and the panels stay flat before I took it over to my paper trimmer and trimmed the edges. The next product that I use is the new Bunny Kisses die. I die cut white cardstock with it, and then I colored the pieces with Distress Oxide inks. You know, I do this quite often. So I started with tea dye and Vintage Photo on the bunny. I used a pretty light hand when I was adding the tea dye to the cardstock, and then where I wanted the areas to be darker, that's where I used the Vintage Photo. Once I finished the bunny, I moved on to the smaller pieces that are in this die set, starting with the inner ear die cut, which I colored with Keach Flamingo ink. And then I colored the nose and the little eye with a Copic marker. I used E77 for those two pieces. And I put a piece of masking tape on the back side of the bunny so the sticky part was being exposed through the front little eye hole, and stuck the eye in that. And then I used a little drop of glue to glue the nose on. And then there's a couple accessory dies if you want to put something in the bunny's hands. There's 2 different Easter eggs and then a little flower stem. Now we're going to look at the new Rejoice stamp and dies. The Rejoice stamp set has the large Rejoice word and then smaller words to pair it with. There's also a hot foil plate and then the Rejoice die. So the Rejoice die has the word die and a shadow die to attach the die cut word to, or you can die cut the foiled Rejoice. I've already die cut Rejoice twice out of white cardstock and I glued them together. And then I die cut salmon cardstock with the shadow die. I glued the word onto the shadow and I made sure to tap off any excess glue before attaching the word, since this is a pretty delicate die cut. The word is fully connected, but the exclamation dot is not, so be sure to keep your eye out for that little piece. Now I'm going to work with my hot foil press and the Rejoice hot foil plate. I picked gold foil to foil onto white cardstock, and I'm going to do all of this on screen. I heated up the hot foil plate and then I topped it with gold foil, and I made sure that the shiny side is laying on the plate looking down. And I topped it with white cardstock, then ran it through the Gemini machine, and you can see how pretty that word is when I remove the foil. Now I'm going to use the shadow die to die cut the word. So I taped the die in place, ran it through my die cut machine, and then poked all the pieces that needed to be poked out. Now you can see how the die cuts look side by side. The gold foil is so shiny. I love it. Getting back to the bunny, before I attached it to the card, I wanted to give it a fluffy little tail, so I put a dot of glue on its tail and then I poured white flock over the glue. I found this bottle of flock at a local craft store a few years ago. I just poured the flock over it, tapped off the excess, gave it a couple minutes to dry. Then I picked the flower stem for the bunny to hold. Again, I just used a small drop of glue to attach them together. Once the glue was dried, I used my favorite thin foam squares to attach the bunny to the card front, and I held the word in position so I can get that bunny tucked in nicely behind the word, and then I attached the word with some more thin foam squares. I did make a second card using the same exact layout, same ink colors for the bunny. I just used the die cut word as the sentiment. And here's the daisy chain used on a card. I die cut pink and purple cardstocks and then die cut yellow cardstock with the small circles to glue onto the middle of the flowers. I love how these cards turned out. That bunny is so adorable and the rejoice is in such a pretty font. I have a lot more inspiration over on my blog showing off more products from this collection, so I'll leave a link down in the description if you'd like to stop by and see them. That's all that I have for today. I want to thank you so much for stopping by. If you can, please give this video a thumbs up, and I'm going to be back tomorrow with another project from this collection, so be sure to subscribe before you leave so you don't miss it on that video. I'll see you tomorrow. Take care, friends.